Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me. This is Ciara from Ciara T Designs, and today I'm sharing these alcohol ink flower field cards with you. So let's jump right in. I am going to cut down a piece of Yupo paper. That's what I like to use under my alcohol inks. There are a lot of different substrates, but Yupo is by far my favorite. And I'm cutting that down to be about 1/4 of an inch smaller than my A2 sized base. And I'm also going to cut down a black glitter cardstock that I'm going to use as a mat. And I'm cutting that one down to be about 1/8 of an inch smaller than my A2 base. And an A2 base is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I will be making 2 cards. You, of course, don't have to do that. And as I said, there are many different substrates you can use. Anything that's a not porous surface can work with alcohol inks. But Yupo, I have had the best results with. So that is generally what I tend to lean towards. And you guys know, if you've been with my channel for a minute, that I love to mat my cards. I love the look and I love how vibrant that helps my the colors be on the card. So I am going to use a black glitter cardstock for it. And you can absolutely cut out the center. I have had people comment on that in the past. I choose not to do that because I prefer not to have the center gape. Like I find that it sags a bit, and I don't like that look because I use such thick cardstocks that it tends to have like a bit of a gape in the middle. Or a sag, sorry, and I'm not a fan of that look, but there is no wrong way. If you want to save the material, absolutely cut out the center of the black glitter and you can do that. So for the colors of my alcohol inks, they're all from Tim Holtz, and I'm using, for the pink, it's Enchanted. It is a pearl. Then I have Sunset Orange, Sunshine Yellow, Citrus, Cloudy Blue, and Cool Peri. And I am going for a rainbow look. If you guys have been with me for a bit, you know that I love vibrant colors. They just make me happy. They make me smile, and I can't get enough of them. So I do tend towards that when I do different colors. But of course, again, you could do this in any color way you want to do, but I love vibrant colors. That is what I kind of gravitate towards. Now I'm going to create 2 different panels for this because you saw with my 2 cards. And for this first one, I'm kind of trying for a more textured look. So when I first grabbed my Yupo, you saw me put down a bunch of blending solutions so that I could get some movement in my colors. But then as I will add the blending solution, occasionally so that I get more of a textural look. There's more texture to this one. I don't know what else to call it because that's kind of what I'm aiming for. So you can see that there's more sharp edges. There's less blend to it, but my colors still stay individual. And then when we make the second panel, I'm trying for that one to be a lot smoother, a lot more water-esque. And then that's kind of what I was doing. I just like to play with the technique, and I think it's a great way to practice. So I kind of was doing 2 panels, and I thought, why not try 2 completely different ways of adding the ink? Neither is right or wrong. Neither is going to look, ugly, in my opinion. I think they're both stunning. It's just they're a completely different look. So for the second panel, I only added blending solution where I was adding the color so that I can work with my colors and get the blending through each color, whereas the first one I added blending solution all over it and then slowly added color. In this one, you can see that I started with some blending solution, then with the orange, I did a line of orange, then added the blending solution, and I keep working from there so that every time I put down a new color, I have blending solution to help me keep the blends very flowy, very water-esque, and very smooth. So I'll hold the panels both up when I'm finished with my colors, but that was the thought with the techniques. Now, if you prefer one or the other, do both panels that way. There's no wrong way for this. It's just that when I play with my products, sometimes I really like to practice different things and see what I can achieve or accomplish. So that is what I was doing here. I did find in this one, I lost my yellow a little bit. It's not a big deal. You can still see it, but it's not as obvious as it is in the first panel. So I'm going to hold them up here so you can check them both out. And you can see that one has a lot more sharp edges, a lot more texture, and the other one has a lot more of the kind of smooth color going on. And then I brought in the exact same black glitter cardstock that I used for the mat, and I'm going to cut out the Tim Holtz Flower Field die. This is a great, it's so pretty. I love it. It's just, for a background like what we've just created, I don't want to cover a lot of it up, but I need something on top of it to just give you, something to look at that's not just those beautiful inks. So I chose this die because it covers, a fair amount so it can stand on its own, but it doesn't steal the whole show. Like you still get that beautifully vibrant background, but you also have a focal image to focus on. Now, I did run this through my die cutting machine. I think I did it twice because it did cut a bit odd because of the glitter cardstock. That is why I use the chrome plate. I do find that sometimes I struggle a little bit with glitter cardstocks to get them to cut nicely. So I used my chrome base plate and it worked pretty well. I think it just got stuck in one area where I did have to actually trim it out with some scissors, but you could just run it back through the die cutting machine if that's what you wanted to do. I don't really mind. I have no issue with just bringing in my scissors and trimming it up a little bit. And then I just used my craft pick to poke out all the little bits that kind of go with those flowers. But this is such a great die to go on top of a background that you don't want to hide behind something because there's so many holes in it. So you get all these beautiful colors popping around this black glitter field of flowers and it just looks stunning. So of course I cut it out twice and then I popped out all the little random extra bits to make sure that you would be able to see all that beautiful color behind it. And then we're going to start kind of adhering things. Now, I opted not to add a sentiment to this card, just because I wanted to kind of have the freedom to turn it into whatever I needed it to be. It could be a birthday card. It could be a, just like I want to send something. It could be supportive. It could be like just a hello. Like it could be so many different things that I didn't want to limit it at this stage. So for me, I would probably just white heat emboss a sentiment and stick it down on the base of the flowers. And that I would just do like a thin label. So if you want to add a sentiment, please do. But I opted not to just because I didn't want to lock these cards into a certain box, if that makes sense, because I wanted them to be whatever I decided them to be when I wanted to send them to somebody. And sometimes I don't even add a sentiment. Sometimes I'll send them to like a pen pal or, a friend of mine, and it'll just be this stunning card with no sentiment. It's just I wanted to send one, so I did. But yeah, so that's kind of why I thought that way. And then I am just going to adhere everything. I did bring in the base of my die cutting machine, as you saw, or the part that goes through the plates, so that I could have it make sure that my pieces were going to adhere. Because I'm adhering plastic paper to glitter cardstock, I was a little worried they would take a while to grab. So I laid everything down, glued it down, and then I just set my, my base and my chrome plate on top to make sure they couldn't slide around or do anything weird while I was waiting for the glue to grab. And you're going to see me do it here as well with these kind of field of flowers, just because I don't want them to lift and I don't want it to kind of try to let go. But because I'm, kind of adhering two different slick surfaces together, it's just better to add a little bit of weight and give it a few minutes to kind of grab the glue. Otherwise, I find that they'll shift when you're not really paying attention and then everything's crooked and then your glue is grabbed and now you get to fight with it. So that's kind of just one of my tips when working with very slick surfaces in this case, because they're both slick. And then of course I am going to adhere them down to the white base. And then that kind of gives you that border that goes all the way around. And honestly, I know I say this fairly often, but the video and the pictures don't do these cards justice. Like the colors are just so vibrant. I love Tim Holtz alcohol inks. They are one of my favorite mediums to play with because you pick some colors that go beautifully together and then you just play. Like it's just so much fun to see them come together and create this stunning card, right? You could frame this. It's so pretty. At least I would, because it makes me smile. Maybe you wouldn't, but that's okay too. So now we're just going to adhere them down to the base. I did opt to go in with some foam tape just because I wanted a little bit of dimension and there wasn't much going on with this card at this stage, just because I had kind of laid everything flat. So I did opt to use my Big Mama foam tape from Simon Says Stamp just to give it a little bit more dimension. Still a super thin amount. This foam tape is about, I believe, 1/16 of an inch thick. So it's incredibly thin and it just gives you a little bit of oomph without, kind of stealing the show and making it very bulky. So I tend towards small amounts of dimension because, like I said, I like to mail my stuff and I don't want to, have to pay for a whole bunch of bulk. So that's kind of what I was thinking. And then that's pretty much the card. We are going to go in and add a little bit of embellishment to it, but I tried to keep these cards kind of just, I'm going to say simple, though I don't think that people would agree with me necessarily, but they are just really pretty and really quick to make if you can kind of enjoy the alcohol inks and not trying to control them too much. I have had a lot of success with alcohol inks because I love them so much and I'm okay with whatever they become. But I do know if you struggle with trying to control them, you kind of don't end up with it as much. I do find them like you kind of just have to be okay with whatever they turn out to be, and that's okay. But at least they're super forgiving, because if you didn't like your background, you could add some alcohol and just like wipe it off and start over with your piece of Yupo. So alcohol inks are pretty forgiving, and I think that they are also just stunning. I did pick up the new colors Tim Holtz just brought out. I haven't had a chance to use them yet. I only grabbed them yesterday, but I cannot wait to play with them. I'm so excited. I actually think that I'm going to be doing some swatching of all my alcohol inks, because I think that it gives you a better idea of what you're working with. So I think I'm going to do some shorts or reels, however you want to call them. I guess there's shorts on YouTube and reels on Instagram. But I am going to do some shorts of just doing some swatching with my alcohol inks. So if that's of interest to you, watch out for that, because that's my next thing, I think, so that I can have a good idea of what all my colors are. And then for embellishment, I did bring in the Simon Says Stamp Flickering Butterflies die, and that just cuts out, I believe it cuts out 8 butterflies, and they're just so pretty. So I brought in some iridescent vellum. This is from Lawn Fawn, and I cut out all of the little butterflies with it so that I could use those as embellishments across my card. You don't have to, you don't need the addition of it. I think this card's stunning on its own, but I am a more is more style crafter, so I do tend towards adding more things than necessary, but I think they turned out beautiful, so I'm okay with it. And for the vellum, I've kind of come up with this better idea. I like the wings to be floating, so I've started using my reverse tweezers and forcing them in this, like using them in the center of the butterfly, and then folding up the wings so that it gives me a flat area to glue to my card. I've found this to be a way easier way to get the wings to adhere, or sorry, to get the body to adhere so that the wings can stay up and still give me the dimension that I want, without having the butterfly lift off because there was no real area for it to adhere onto the card. So that's kind of my little tip that I've come up with that allows me to do the technique that I want without losing, the look that I'm after. And of course, because it's me and I need to add all of the glittery, shiny things, I am going to put little gems in the center of all the butterflies, because why the heck not? There's not enough glitter on this card as it is, because I love the shiny things. So I did bring in some Spellbinders crystal mixed adhesive crystals. You'll see them here in one sec. And I just used my craft pick to pick them up off of the adhesive backed sheet and then just stick them in the center of all the butterflies. And I love how these cards turned out. They're so happy and beautiful and so much fun to look at, and they make me smile. So that's kind of my aim when I make cards, is that I hope that, if someone receives this, they'll see it and be blown away by how beautiful it is, and not to toot my own horn or anything, and just be excited to receive it and excited to, sit it on their dresser or on their counter or wherever, and just look at it and be, pretty excited about it. So that is always my thought when I kind of make cards like these, because I just think they're so much fun. But yeah, so that is the card I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll leave me a like, leave me a comment. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. I do new videos every Monday and Thursday, and of course every second Thursday is a live stream. And watch out for a Halloween series. I did ask on our video recently if you guys would be interested in a Halloween series, and I had some pretty positive reception to that. So I am going to be doing a Halloween series. I think it will be in September, so watch out for that. It'll be coming up here in a little bit. Not quite yet. We have to get through August first, but once we get closer to September, we'll start into the Halloween makes, because I think it'll be a lot of fun. So check that out, and be sure to leave me a comment. I love to hear your guys' comments. I love to hear your thoughts. Tell me your thoughts. Would you have done a different color palette? Do you like the rainbow? Do you prefer the more smooth one? Do you prefer the more textural one? Like, which one do you prefer? Let me know, because I'm always super interested to hear. So please share your thoughts with me. But yeah, so that is the video I have for you guys. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I cannot wait to see you again soon. Bye-bye for now.